Hi guys, it's Isa here. Thanks for coming onto my YouTube channel. Please do like, subscribe, and leave comments so we can improve what we bring to you. This is about bringing out all the extraordinary things in our ordinary day lives. Hi guys, afternoon. Back with another edition of An Audience with Isa. And today it is very different because today we're going down the youth way. I've got a very special guest with me. Her name is Tobi. You know, we are like generations apart. So I'm really starting to feel the freshness that I know she's going to bring onto the show. The topic we've actually got is about finding your purpose as a young adult, which I know is a very, very interesting subject across the board to all of us as parents and to all of us as, if you like, elders in the community in terms of how we interact with our young adults. And Tobi, you know, I have to say, is a fantastic individual, a lady that knows where she's going, and you can see that in her antecedents. She's a law graduate, graduated from Warwick a few years ago, and actually she's also she's got a master's degree as well from University College London, where she did international policy studies, I'll call it, but I'm sure she'll correct me if I got it wrong. So, you know, you can see. So what we're trying to do here is she's actually, you know, achieved quite a lot in her young years, but I also gathered as well that she's also very concerned about where things are going with our peers and making sure everybody is focused on the right way, on the positive. So without going too much into the intro myself, I want Tobi to talk a little bit about herself. So Tobi, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So just tell me a little bit more about yourself.
I mean, you've already touched upon my educational background. So I studied law, and then after that, I did a master's in international public policy.
Yeah.
And I've worked at private companies, and I worked in the legal and compliance department of those companies. So by professional background, I have a background in law and compliance. Outside of that, my hobbies are interior design.
Okay.
And I've just recently developed an interest in psychology too. So I have many
Wow.
different interests.
Yeah, so it's varied basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is brilliant. So that's really good. And thanks for your background. And as I've said, I can't emphasize enough about what it means, you know, to be able to look at, you know, a 20-something-year-old coming up and just be proud of, you know, what they've done, what they've achieved, especially in this very difficult times. And I'm not actually talking about COVID. I'm talking about how things have actually, you know, worked out generally across the world in the last couple of years, you know, 5, 10 years. It's not easy to stay focused. So, but there's something actually really interesting. I thought I've got a few questions for you, and you know, I'm hoping you just give me that perspective because I'm actually here to learn as well. I have to say, based on what my kids tell me, that I think I'm a little bit, you know, potentially stuck in the 90s, if you if you like. So I wouldn't mind being dragged along into the 2020s, so I can get with the program. So tell me a little bit about why did you choose to study law as your first degree?
Well, I mean, I'm a very analytical person, so it's just something that suited my personality, and I knew that the law profession would be a good profession to go into. And I've been very interested in how human beings behave and how there's sort of this guiding force behind behavior, which takes the shape of law. So I wanted to learn more about that and how sort of like law guides behavior. So that's what drew me to study law.
Okay, so very interesting. And no, it is very, I mean, I have a law background as well, and I think it does suit, if you like, if I wouldn't say necessarily analytical, but somebody with a purpose that just wants to get things done. Law is almost a way of expressing yourself.
Exactly.
In
Sure.
what you do. So, okay, thanks for that. Really interesting. And so, just getting onto the topic, one of the key things I have is, growing up as a millennial, what informs your choices, other than parental influence, which we know can be quite strong. So what informs your choices in this day and age?
I think I'm naturally quite a self-reflective person. I'm pretty introspective, so I know myself quite well. And I feel it's easy to have a guiding force when you know who you are. And because I know who I am and what I want out of life, it's easier for me to know, okay, what do I want and how do I get there? So in terms of what drives me, aside from parental influences, I would say just having a vision as to where I want to be, the kind of person that I also want to be is very important to me too, because who I am as a person and the kind of impact that I have on people around me is very important to me.
Yeah.
So I think just having an idea of who I am and where I want to be is really what drives me.
Yeah, yeah. And that's brilliant, actually. And, the key word there is vision.
Exactly.
The key word there is vision, because if you're following other people's vision, you're not likely to have the required drive to get where you're going.
Exactly.
But when you tap into your own vision, exactly what it is, then it's easy to drive that. And do you find that within your age group, how do you find people of your age group keen into their vision? Is it a lot easier, or is it a difficult thing?
I think people in my age group, well, from what I'm exposed to, people seem to be quite entrepreneurial and seem to be quite bold in pursuing their own desires and creating a path for themselves.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when people, I think being in this social media age, we have the tools available to us to make the most out of, the visibility that we do have. So I think people are making the most out of that and using that to make opportunities for themselves, really. So I think, but then again, because of the visibility of social media, that also comes with pressure. So I think if you're starting a business, you might think, okay, if that person's doing that, maybe I should do it too. But then it's kind of like, that's not for everybody. So you have to know what genuinely suits you. But then again, it's also okay to try something and not succeed, because you learn from failure as much as you learn from success. And I don't really feel like people speak about that enough. So I think about failure so much more, so that people feel comfortable trying things and knowing that, okay, even if this doesn't work out, it's okay that I try, and trying is enough.
That is brilliant, actually, because it's one of the questions, and I think we'll still come on to it. But what I can just draw out of it is, you've said it. So I think is that I'll use the word resilience. Right? So I'll use the word resilience, because you've actually said what it is don't be afraid to try something. But also, if I come back to the very important point, don't follow what everybody else is doing. Right? And then you combine that with, if I fail, I'll simply try again. And hopefully the society, actually, don't let me start with the society, let me start with the family. Understands, and hopefully then the society gets with it. But if I go actually to the school, because this is really very important and I want us to spend a bit more time on it. So as a young adult, are you coping with the challenges of the digital social media age? Are there key things that you can touch upon there, especially for people to be aware of?
Of course, I think it's very important to be aware of how much content you take in from social media as well, because we have so much visibility into what other people are doing. It's very easy to compare yourself to other people and to feel like you're not doing so well relative to somebody else. But I think what I've learned so far is that everybody's journey is different, and you have to just have the patience to go through your own journey too. And I feel like it's harder to have patience when you can see what everybody else is doing, and that's what social media pretty much allows you to see. So I think it's important to have breaks on social media too, but like, don't get me wrong, social media is great in terms of it's a platform where you can find information and network with different people. There are things to it as well, but I think you have to also be cognizant of the downsides too, and in that sense kind of filter what you take in and how you allow certain things impact you. Because I've definitely had times where, because I was, for instance, LinkedIn, you kind of see everybody post their accomplishments all the time on LinkedIn, right?
Yes.
People are already going to be like, oh, guess what? I failed today. people don't really say that. So you kind of have this inaccurate understanding of how life works and how people come to success, because it's very rare that people just try the first time and they get things how they want them. People have to try over and over and over and over again. And I don't really feel like that's enough. That isn't really shown much. That's not shown enough. So I think it's very easy to get a very misconstrued conception as to what your journey should look like, because you see so many other people's journeys. So I think definitely recognize the good things that social media can bring to you, which is you can have the ability to network with different people. You have access to information and opportunities. However, do also be aware of the drawbacks as well and filter how much of it you take in.
Can I just stop you there? Because you know, you've said what you've said, which is quite key, is, you know, social media is there to help you draw attention to, we could say the really positive things, but really for me, it doesn't at the moment go far enough in trying to distinguish between real life and make believe. So if you're thinking about it, and we're talking to all of us, actually, I think this applies to not just young adults. What should you really, really look out for with the use of social media to help you keep focus and also to stop you from getting into that trap of, I've got to constantly keep going?
I think really you have to just listen to yourself and your body. I think your body tells you when it's time to take a break, and a lot of us don't really acknowledge that or don't listen to our bodies. So I think it's not really a thing of social media telling you what to do. It's rather a thing of you listening to yourself, because no one knows you better than you know yourself, despite, you know, having various forces that might tell you that you don't know yourself well enough. That's not true. No one knows you better than you know yourself. So you have to really listen to your own self and your body. When your body is asking for a break, honor that and take a break. And that's something I've also had to learn. I've had to learn how to be kinder to myself and to give myself breaks. I think when you're an ambitious person, you feel like you have to just keep going and going and going and going and going and going, and you don't stop. But we're human beings, we're not machines, so we do have limits, and it's okay to take a break. One day where I have so much energy and I feel really motivated, maybe a day where I have maybe 80% of energy but not 100%, but then it's okay to have those days. Like, it's okay for your energy to fluctuate. That's human. But I feel like if you're not operating at 100% all the time, you sometimes feel that there's something wrong with you, but no, there's nothing wrong with you. You're just a human being. So I think it's just having the ability to be kinder to yourself and to recognize that it's okay to be up and down, or to not be entirely 100% consistent all the time. And I think it's also, in terms of like how you can use social media to your advantage, there are also apps that can help you with like mindfulness. I think you have to also so essentially you have the ability to curate your own content, right? And I follow accounts on Instagram that like speak positivity, that speak things about self-confidence. So having those messages like to me every single day, that really does impact how I view my day and how I view myself. Influences as well through social media too.
This is really brilliant, right? And I'm not trying to patronize you, but you really come across, you know, very matured in the way in the way you've expressed how to actually cope, and not just even just coping. And what you've said, which really resonates with me, is you have to know yourself. You have to listen to your body, and I really wish that there can be more of that message. You know, every time we want to take something, right, that person has color blue on, so it must mean I can wear blue. Is to stop and reflect. Is that for me? And is that not? So I'm really grateful for the insight you've brought to that. And one of the things I just wanted to ask you though is because, and I can see it in your, you know, in your background, you've been in boarding house most of your life, and you went off to, you know, a really top grade uni studying. It's a difficult course, so it's not that easy, and coming up with top grades is so. And in that time is how you've paced yourself. And I just want people to say your journey applies to the youth nowadays, because I'll tell you why. In church, in the society, etc., I hear a lot of, you know, the pressure is too much, and, you know, we might as well mention it, suicide rates or rate of depression or all of this seems to be skyrocketing. But listening to you, what you're saying to me is take a step back, take a step back from that. Think about who you are. Think about what makes you a person, your individual.
Sure.
And try and accept that.
Yeah, and I think also think about what brings you joy and pay attention to what brings you joy and do more of those things that bring you joy. Because at the end of the day, you want to feel very fulfilled. And sometimes we feel like fulfillment comes just from, being financially fulfilled, but it's really not just that. It's also feeling mentally and spiritually fulfilled, and money doesn't always bring that. So I think sometimes people are sort of like in the pursuit of, I want to be rich, money, money. But then, you hear about so many people that have all this money, but they're still not happy. So you have to very much pay attention to the kind of things that bring you joy.
A lot of that actually, I'm going to have to say, of people that have money, but they're just not there. You set the background. So what drives you yourself to want to achieve your aspirations and dreams? What drives you? What drives Tobi?
What drives Tobi? I would say I'm a very visual person, so I have an idea of the kind of life that I want for myself.
Yeah.
So whenever I feel demotivated, I kind of think about, okay, for Tobi, where do you want to be in 5 years' time? What kind of goals do you want to have achieved by the age of 30? And I feel like that drives me when I'm feeling down.
Right.
I think also there are certain qualities to me that I want to continuously develop, and for me, one of those. That's empathy and consideration for other people around me.
Yeah.
So those are two things that drive me as well. So I'm always pushing myself to learn about experiences that aren't just mine. I want to learn about other people and other struggles that people face.
Yeah.
Because I think it's very important to be empathetic. I feel like there is power in community because we're very interdependent. I know the world tries to push this idea of individuality and you can do everything by yourself, but I don't think that's true. And I feel like if you have the resources to help people, you should. So I always keep in mind that, okay, whenever I can help people, I should always volunteer my time and my knowledge to help people wherever I can. So those are the two things that primarily drive me.
Oh, wow. Okay. Brilliant. And actually, I think what you said, which I like, is it's more like, it's a long-term plan. So where do I want to be in 5 years' time? You're thinking about what your plan is, and that's sort of like the vision in front of you when and that's actually quite key, and that's actually even a learning for myself, I would say, is because it can get overwhelming sometimes when it's just like I can't really see the wood for the trees, but when you've got that short to long-term plan ahead of you, you can come back and start thinking about it.
It's important to break your big overall goal down into little chunks as well, because that makes it more achievable. Because I think sometimes thinking about something in a very big scale makes it seem very daunting and unachievable, but then when you break it down into smaller chunks, it then seems more doable. And I think I have an idea of where I want to be in the next 5 to 10 years. That's like an idea. It doesn't mean that it's going to definitely happen. So I think I also keep in mind that although I'm intentional about where I want to go, it's also important to learn how to surrender too, because although you might think that this is how my life is going to go, it might not go that way.
Actually, can I ask you, I don't think it's controversial, but I'm going to ask this, right? So what you just said there, which is you have a vision of where you want to go. You've broken it down, and you break it down, and you're taking it in steps, and so therefore you can measure what your progress is. But on one hand, you're also keeping it as I don't want to. The word that comes is an idea. So just if it doesn't happen,
it's still flexible. It's not set in stone. Like it's flexible.
Right. Okay. But where do you determine the drive to achieve that objective? As opposed to being completely unreasonable about what you can achieve. How do you balance it, I guess, is the question.
I think that's the balance I'm trying to achieve I try to achieve every single day. It's not something I actually, I've not figured it out fully yet. And I feel like as I get older and as I grow, that balance will also change. So I think I've really come to learn that life is a balance, like everything in balance, essentially. And that balance is something I'm actually still trying to learn. I'm trying to learn myself, the balance between intentionality and surrender. It's a pretty hard balance to strike. So it's something I'm still learning myself. But I think as long as I'm trying, that's all I can do. I can do.
I'm going to accept that actually, and I think the key word there is, because surrender feels quite, how would I say, quite powerful. For me, it conjures up, I've almost got my excuse before,
Mm-hmm.
but actually, what you're trying to say is, we're back to the same. Manage your expectations.
Yes, it's very important to do so
Manage your
because
expectations. Drive yourself, but manage your expectations,
I
and be
think
flexible enough to adjust.
exactly, of course, and or just understanding that there's certain things that are beyond our control
Yeah.
and accepting that too. I think, for instance, like it's in my control to apply for the things that I want to apply for and put myself forward for opportunities. But
Yes.
it's not really in my control whether or not that thing actually happens. It's actually not. I mean, what I can do is put my best foot forward all the time. But that's where it ends for me. I can't do much more than that. So the
Mm,
outcome is not really up to me. That's up to God to decide. So I think you have
yeah.
to, it's a give and take.
Okay. But
Yeah.
if I then help you to push yourself a bit towards, when you've put yourself in a position,
Mm-hmm.
where help will come and locate you, it will come and locate you easily. So that's
Yeah.
the difference between not trying, thinking I've done it, or
Mm-hmm.
trying and then, and trying and
Mm-hmm.
then waiting for the opportunity to locate you. What I found over time is there's no such thing as luck. As
Yeah.
such, you make your luck. And what you've just described is, I'm going to try my very best. And if we were to go back to the current situation we're in, so we're in a lockdown, right?
Mm-hmm.
No one can go anywhere. But if we go to technology, of which I understand a lot about, um, we're using Zoom at the moment.
Yeah.
Prior to the COVID, Zoom
Mm-hmm.
was just an office comms software that we used in the office.
Yeah.
Now everyone, including my 81-year-old dad, and all, are all on Zoom. So for the Zoom guy, he's obviously laughing to the bank whilst
Mm-hmm.
people are,
Definitely.
because it's placed that software there at the time, and now
Mm-hmm.
people are taking advantage of it. And I think that really relates to what you're saying to me as a young adult. Put yourself in a position where, hopefully your advantages will locate you because you've worked out for it. So
Exactly.
fantastic, really. This is really good. I'm really enjoying this. But
Thank you.
moving on as well. So without me, so what tends to happen is, like, obviously as a mom, as
Mm-hmm.
somebody close to 50 and stuff like that, when you're advising the kids, when you're advising young adults and stuff, there tends to be, from my own experience,
Mm-hmm.
which in some cases I admit may be good, in
Mm-hmm.
some cases not so relevant, because you have to think about when you're doing it. So if I come to you, Tobi, and say to me, what simple advice would you give, the 16-year-olds
Mm-hmm.
about to do GCSEs, finishing GCSEs, the 16 to 18-year-olds doing A levels,
Mm-hmm.
and the university students.
Mm-hmm.
So your 16 to 22-year-olds, what simple advice would you give them
Mm-hmm.
about about coping as a young adult?
I would say don't give up on yourself and never stop showing up for yourself. It's okay to take breaks when things get a bit overwhelming, but just don't give up on yourself. That's what I would definitely say.
Yeah.
Because I think there will be you'll be tested a lot. Like the real world is challenging. It's not easy. But I think you have to have that grit and that resilience to not give up on yourself because it's very easy to give up.
Yeah.
You have to just keep going and going and going. So I think just be very focused and don't give up on yourself. Very focused on on the goals you want to achieve, and just never lose sight of that. Even in the face of adversity, do not lose sight of what you want to achieve because so many people are where they are because of perseverance and not because it happened the first time. It happened like the 20th time. So just never
Well,
stop showing for yourself.
that's brilliant. And what's the role? Because we've talked about digital, we've talked about social media. What's the role parents, families, and
Mhm.
friends can play
Mhm.
when it comes to giving encouragement to young adults?
Yeah, I think your parents and your friends are really a form of support to you and a form of encouragement to you.
Yeah.
And my mom has always encouraged me to, be outstanding. She always spoke positive words to me. So I think if you're in an environment that speaks
Yeah.
positively into you,
Yeah.
that you know, that just fills your spirit. So I think being around people that speak positivity into your life and who encourage you as well,
Yes.
and who
Yes.
are there for you, you know, even when you're down too, it's not even all about happy times. It's also about, you know, when you're down and upset, you know, if you have someone that can support you through that and can be there for you, because, you know, like I said, we're very interdependent. We're not, you know, there's power in community. There's power in having people, you know, to be there for you and to support you.
Yes.
Like I said, there will be very challenging times. But then what gets you through that is having people there to hold you and to support you and to love on you, because you need to be loved on. You need to be loved on through the hard times.
Yes. Yes.
Hard times. And I think also just, you have to believe that there's nothing that is out of your reach. Even though the society may tell you that, you know, there's only something that you can achieve, don't believe that.
Can you repeat that like 3 times? Just so, so people get that. Or actually, should I point to the 16 to 22-year-olds get that point?
There is nothing that is out of your reach.
Yeah.
Don't let society tell you that there's only so much that you can achieve. It's not true.
Thank you.
Determine what you can achieve. It's not up to society. It's up to you. It's not up to, you know, anything else about you.
Yes.
And you can essentially take on the world. Like, the world is your starting point, to be honest. So
yeah. That, for me, I think that really sums up what I wanted, that's how I feel. And I'm happy that I'm talking to you and you're actually emphasizing the same thing, is you can achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve.
And you owe it to yourself to try to get there, because you do. I think the first thing is to live with regret that, I wish I tried that, so I wish I put myself forth that opportunity. It's kind of like, it's not very nice to live with regret. I think when you know that it's better to try and for things to not work out than to not try at all.
Yeah.
And I think the more you try, the bolder you become, and failure doesn't scare you as much. You just understand that it's a part of life. So, you know, it's kind of like, okay, I don't really fear applying for things anymore, because I can get rejected, but okay, that's fine. That's a part of life. You know, it's not the thing that I'm not good enough. It just means that wasn't the door to open for me.
Exactly.
You have to learn not to take. You have to learn not to take rejection and closed doors personally.
Yes.
Because you have to boldly believe that everything happens for a reason. And I feel like it's harder to believe that once you haven't really had much life experience. I think it's easier to believe that everything happens for a reason once you've been through things that you've overcome and you've come back from like countless things.
Yes.
When you haven't really gone through much, it's very hard to believe that, you know, everything does happen for a reason. Yeah. But you just have to boldly believe that. You just have to. You have to find a way to get through. You know, you have to just believe that.
It's funny when you say life's experiences actually sometimes isn't based on age. It's actually based on how much you've experienced. But I think it's also very relevant, and this is what I try to say, especially to high achieving kids, is that whenever something doesn't meet your expectation, or whenever you feel you failed at something, it just means you need to work you need to work a little bit harder, or you need to work smarter. And think, what did I do wrong? But the essential thing there, especially for youth, is you can't just afford not to strive for the best of yourself.
Because nobody can show up for you the way you can show up for yourself. Like, your parents can help you, but you have to do the work for yourself too. And no one can do that better than you. So you just have to, like, you want to look. And I think, like, I want to look back at, you know, 5 years from now, I want to look back and think, you know what, I'm actually really proud of you, Tobi, for going for that and for really pushing and striving.
Well done.
Look back and think, okay, I'm actually proud of myself for not giving up and for just keeping the momentum as much as I could.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I know that I want to look back and be like, you know what, I'm proud of myself. I did that, you know.
Brilliant. So I'm just going to ask you, so we talked about having a vision for 5 years, or what you plan. So tell me, from a work perspective, right, where do you hope to be in 5 years' time?
In 5 years' time, I hope to be a qualified lawyer in 5 years' time.
Okay.
I don't know what practice area I'll be qualifying into just yet.
Yeah.
I do hope that I get a training contract, and I hope that I make the most out of my training contract experience. Yeah. I would also like to do some pro bono as well. Like I said, it's very important that I use my skills to help other people.
Very true.
I want to make sure that I am just continuously putting myself in the shoes of other people. And I feel like it's very important to understand experiences that aren't just your own.
Yeah.
You have to understand what other people are going through, because I feel like that makes you more grateful for the opportunities that you do have, and for the position for the position that you are in. It should incentivize you to also want to use your skills to help other people and to bring
Yes.
other people up behind you as well. So I hope I'm also helping other young people succeed too, and imparting my knowledge onto them, and just being a mentor, advising them too. So that's what I think.
Yeah. Well, I noticed you did a bit of that at uni as well, which sets the ground nicely. So, what areas of law interest you at this point in time?
Commercial law is what I see.
Okay.
Most of my professional background has been within a commercial space and in a business context. So that's what I know, and so that's where I see myself going into.
Okay. Well, that's also a very, very profitable area of law. So I don't somehow think you'll be going wrong with that. I hope, I pray, and I'm certain with the sort of determination that you have and the will to just get there. I know you're gonna, you're in 5 years, you're gonna look back and say, right, I achieved it and probably topped it, a lot more. So, and definitely, that's just the way to go. Is all the things that you've just, you've said to me so far about how you manage yourself, how as a young adult, how you intend to manage yourself, how you cope with failures if it happens, and also setting the right expectation, but being very individualistic about it, because that's very important. That's really brilliant. And when I think early 20s, there's obviously more challenges also around. So when it comes to work, we've talked a bit about work, your ambition. Tell me a bit about your extracurricular activities and how you balance that with your professional output.
Yeah, I think similarly to how you have to be intentional about work, you have to be intentional about having fun and setting aside time to just be and relax, because like I said, everything is a balance. And I think once you've left enough time to do the things that make you happy, you can actually show up at work better, because you've satisfied your soul in that way. And I think it's important to make time for that. And when you're going with work all the time, it's very easy to forget to make time for yourself. So if you really have to go to the extent of scheduling time in your calendar to do things that make you happy, you have to just do that, because that's also a form of accountability as well.
Yes.
So yeah,
I agree with that actually. In terms of, because it's pretty much, if you're a to-do list person, and actually find out, you might your personal life as well as got to be like a to-do list to achieve the right level of balance. So what sort of things do you do that interest you?
I mean, talking to my friends and hanging out with my friends is number one. Like, just being in the company of my friends brings me so much joy. So there's that going out for dinner or just hanging out. Also, I watch TV, like a lot of TV shows. That's down to me, especially things that make me laugh as well. So that's really good for me. And my friends and I have, like, because we can't see each other.
Well, I mean, at the moment,
Actually, my friends and I actually have like a weekly Zoom call where we dissect our favorite TV show every week and like talk about it and like how it made us.
Great. That is actually that is good. Yes. So it's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
And then and it keeps you all in tune with each other in terms of what you've been doing.
Exactly. And also I have an interest in interior design. So I'm always, looking at, interior design inspiration on Instagram or creating visualizations myself. So I actually did an interior design masterclass a couple of weeks ago where I learned to create like design visuals on this technology platform. So I've been challenging myself to sort of like just design different things on that platform. So I would pick like a friend in mind and think, okay, what would this friend like in their space?
Yes.
And I design it based on that and bring a vision to life. And that in itself is very rewarding too. So.
Oh, that's very interesting. So are you thinking maybe as a side? side
Yes.
attraction, a side business.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong in having multiple streams.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You know, I think that's something I also want to touch on too, is that it's okay to have different things. You don't have to just be doing one thing. It's okay. I think it's okay to have more than one purpose. I think we all have this idea that we have to be doing just this one thing that we're destined to do, but that's not true. I think I'm destined to do like multiple different things, because as a human being, you're multifaceted. You have many different interests, and I think you owe it to yourself to develop each of those things, because that's what makes you whole. So I think you don't have just one purpose. You can do many different things at once. I strongly believe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. So you've got you've got your purpose
Mm-hmm.
in the legal world, what you wish to achieve, and actually it's your profession. And then you've got this very creative side to you,
Exactly.
interior decoration, and actually you've taken it further by making sure you're starting to learn the professional aspects of it. So it's just about making it work.
Yeah, and I think also I've also started investing in different like investment opportunities as well, and
Okay.
stocks. So there's this app called Crowdivest
Oh
that
yeah, yeah.
so I think also just empowering yourself in that way and trying to make the most of your money too when you can, that in itself feels very empowering too. So that's something I've just recently started doing and I want to do more of as well.
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant. Thank you so much, actually, because you shared quite a number of tips for people to do, and actually the tips you've shared is actually even relevant, very relevant to the current times, because we're locked down, and these are the advantages that we can take of the digital world. Right, so lockdown doesn't mean you can't do stuff, you just have to be determined to do stuff.
There's so much out there, like their podcasts, their books, you know.
Yeah.
They're just so that I think we're really blessed to be in an age where there are just so many sources of information and like so many ways that you can educate yourself outside of even just like the formal education
Yep.
system. And that's something I really implore people to take advantage of, because we just have so much information at our fingertips and so easily available to us. And just make the most of that and learn that you can literally learn anything you want to learn on the internet. Like just go crazy and have fun. Like what you want to learn about. Like I recently finished an online course in psychology. I always had like in like just how I always just think about, okay, why do people act in the way that they do? And I touched upon how I'm quite an empathetic person and how I like to, you know, offer support to people.
Yeah.
So I thought to myself, okay, now that, you know, there are free courses being offered online, why don't I take advantage of that? So I did an online psychology course offered by Yale. So I actually have like an online certification from Yale in psychology.
Oh wow.
That's I didn't like 2 months ago I didn't think I was going to do that, but it happened. I saw the opportunity and I jumped at it, and I'm happy that I did.
Yes. Well, that's an example of taking advantage of, you know, the current situation as well. And you've actually picking psychology is actually good. So between being a law graduate, being an interior design, you can work out. It's never going to go to waste.
In both of these things, because I mean, like think about it, like the interior design spaces make people feel something. Like, so is that element of, okay, how do I want this space to make people feel? Like that's important. And with law, you're dealing with people, you're managing relationships, you're building relationships. So you have to know how to deal with people, and you learn how to do that better from knowing how people behave and why they think in the way that they do.
Well, all I'm going to say is, you know, whoever gets you to work for them, you know, whoever comes across you, they're blessed.
Oh, thank you.
Because they've got a young lady who knows where she's going, who's empathetic, so therefore will know how to gather the people around her and make things work, and who just exudes confidence and positivity. So, you know, Tobi, this has been fantastic. You know, you've actually given me a renewal, which is good. And I can't wait to tell the young adults around me about, you know, it's all about keeping it really positive. It's all about having motivation, and then just going for it. But I think that key word is positivity. The
Mhm.
keywords are confidence,
Mhm.
and then not being afraid to try something out.
Like, don't be afraid. Like,
Yeah.
just be bold and be fearless. Like, try as much as you can to be as fearless as possible, because you don't really lose anything by trying.
Yes.
So
And
yeah,
I think one last thing, you guys are just blessed with, you're blessed with the opportunities that the digital age has provided.
exactly.
Honestly, I'm going to have to. I'm going to leave it there. That I don't think people before you didn't have that. You've got it,
Mhm.
and whoever makes the best use of it is
Yeah,
just going to be the ones taking advantage for the next couple of decades.
yeah, I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. I definitely agree.
Thank
I
you. Thank you so much. It was really lovely to have you.
really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you. Thank you.